What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Lamonts G Custom Knives Show. I'm your host, Harvey Lamont Richard, the number 3 podcast. I just thought that was funny. Yeah, this is the normal hat that I wear when I do a show. I'm kind of out of pocket today, so I it's interesting as I'm preparing to do a major project at my home. I watch a little TV and I turn it on Fox News, and I turn it on the Faulkner Focus, the beautiful journalist on Fox News, Harris Faulkner, has done I guess a 20, 28, 29 day, yeah, 28, it's 28 days, and 28, 29 days in February. And she has done every day, during the weekdays, she has done something on Black history. And what a treat we got today. She had a 3-member panel, and one of the panelists was April Chapman, host of Unshakable, the April Chapman Show. She is the business manager for the great Vince Everett Ellison. So this was a treat, y'all. And I had to take off all my work clothes and everything and try to get cleaned up a little bit so I could do this podcast because this was epic. So I wasn't familiar with the other two panelists, but all three happen to be Black conservatives. And Faulkner, Miss Harris basically asked, what does being a Black conservative celebrating Black history, what does it mean? So they played a snippet from President Trump, and I'm assuming this was either at a Black History event at the White House or doing the address to the nation last Tuesday. Not really sure, but he recognizes that the Black Americans, the worth of the Black Americans, the Asian Americans, the Hispanic Americans. And see, this is why it pisses me off that they call this man a racist, a fascist. And listen, we all know it's garbage. We all know. But he thanked the contributions that the many Black Americans has made to the country over the last 250 years, because that's what he cares about, this country. So, listening to April, if you listen to Vince Everett Ellison, you know where April Chapman gets her knowledge from. She deep dive. I think Harris just wanted like a little 15, 20-second snippet from each panelist. April had the deep dive. She had the deep dive like her mentor, Vince Ellison. And listen, I'm a fan of April, big time fan. Um, so I'm gonna let you know, as a Black conservative, what it means to me. And I think all three of the panelists, it was a individual who hosts his own, he's a Black conservative, hosts his own podcast, April Chapman, of course, and a 23-year-old young man that I'm not familiar with, but he also is a Black conservative. So basically, each one of them had something to say, and I'm going to piggyback off all three and give you my own opinion. So as a Black conservative, and I've been conservative all my life, even when I didn't know I was conservative, even when I didn't know what it meant. Basically, you if you look at the definition of conservatism, it's going to tell you knowing the Bible, being a Christian, understanding the Ten Commandments, and that gives you your marching orders. That is the map for being a conservative. Once you get that map and you get your marching orders, you live your life in a conservative manner, no matter what color you are. But as a black conservative, early on, it was because I didn't have my mindset right. It was kind of difficult because you have plantation minded people that called me a coon, sellout, you know, didn't want to hang around me. Cool, you know. I was like, listen, I'm just, I didn't have that mindset. So why are you denigrating me because I don't think like you? I couldn't understand it. And when I said early on, I mean all the way up into my 30s, man. I didn't want to smoke weed and get high. I didn't want to go to the club and listen to rap music. Even though I did love rap music, I'm not going to lie about that. But I didn't want to do the typical things that a liberal minded, plantation minded Negro would do. I wanted to go to the gym. I wanted to go to church. I wanted to hang out with a few buddies. I wanted to hang out with my family. I wanted to go into my backyard, which is a heavily forested area, and I wanted to walk. I wanted to hike. But to other black individuals my age and older, I was a weirdo. I was a coon. I was a sellout. As I gotten older and older, that noise don't bother me anymore. You call me Uncle Tom, shit, that's a badge of honor. You call me a sellout, that's a badge of honor. Because I know who I am. I'm a Christian, a follower of Jesus Christ that happens to know right from wrong. Don't steal, don't kill, honor your father and your mother. Raise your children, go to work, put food on the table, keep a roof over your head. Don't screw up your mind with drugs and dope. But I'm a coon. Listen, I've told this story many times, and I keep on telling it. Going into 2019, 2020, I wanted to get into politics heavy. At that point in time, I've been with the state going on 20 plus years, and I wanted to further my dedication to the state of Alabama in politics. My mentor, Mr. Eli Henderson, we talked right here in my own backyard. He was the Calhoun County Commissioner. He wanted me to put some signs up because I think it was election time. So he wanted to put some signs up in my yard. Mr. Eli, yes, I love you. And I said, I want a deep dive. He first told me, make sure ain't no skeletons in your closet and make sure you don't owe nobody. I didn't have to worry about none of that. So I didn't hear from Mr. Eli for a long time. And his daughter, which I went to school with, Cindy Henderson, had put a piece on Facebook, leave her family alone, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't understand. So I'm like, I'm taking the message as personal. Even though I haven't talked to Cindy since high school, I'm thinking she's talking directly to me. Leave my family alone. Well, a week or two went by and I found out that Mr. Eli had passed. He had passed of COVID. He had been in the hospital for 2 weeks on a ventilator, and I didn't know. And I sent something to Cindy, my condolences, my former teammate Scott Henderson. I'm not sure if I was friendly with him on Facebook or not, but I sent him something. And it's almost like my dream, because Mr. Eli was finna get me into the political realm. And that hurt. But as a black conservative, and listen, that's been 5, 6 years now. I'm like, do I really need to get into politics to express my message on being a black conservative? Because it's important as a black conservative. and for black conservatives to get that message out to as many black people as possible. Because these plantation minded Negroes that are liberal, I don't look them as dumb and stupid in a lot of instances. I know I said they were dumb and stupid over here in Atlanta when they was listening to that Gavin Newsom guy. But as Vince Everett Ellison says, when it comes to liberals and Democrats, they're ice, ignorant, crazy, and evil. When it comes to the majority of black folks, I think the ignorant part fits. We have been brainwashed for over 200 years that these liberals were going to get us to, they was going to make us free, get us to the promised land. Well, truth be told, when it comes to the Republican Party and conservatives, they the one that said, hey, black folks, God made you free. We had to fight a war to make these liberal-minded idiots realize it. We had to fight a war, the Civil War. But God made you free. And Vince Everett Ellison tells the story about Abraham Lincoln going to Richmond on a boat, and he saw some blacks. I didn't set you free. This war didn't set you free. God made you free. And if any liberal, any white liberal, stand in your way and tell you otherwise, you get your bayonet and you do what you need to do. You take care of business. Abraham Lincoln said that. So for over 200 years, the black man has been brainwashed that the liberal is here to save him. And that's just not true. Many black folks, not knowing if they don't understand it, don't want to understand it, but once you get off that liberal plantation, once you get out of that liberal mindset, I've seen black folks. Listen, Vince Ellison himself, and many people I talk to that are black conservatives were once liberals, was once on that plantation. And they're free now. Their minds are free. Economically, spiritually, they're free. And that's why when you see these white liberals, whether they're rich and famous, whether they're singers or athletes, in their minds is just trapped. And people call it Trump derangement syndrome, and that's true. But they have a mental illness of liberalism that they can't escape. Tell you a funny story, then I'm gonna get back to the Black History thing. So Vince Everett Ellison said he told a story when they went to the White House this year for for the Black History Month celebration. He met Dr. Ben Carson. Dr. Ben Carson served as a part of Donald Trump's first cabinet. I want to say housing and urban development or something like that. It may have been Surgeon General. I can't remember. I just know he served on the cabinet. And Mr. Ellison said, you know what, Mr. Carson, you are the world's greatest brain surgeon, the greatest ever been. Have you ever thought about dissecting a liberal mind? And Dr. Carson said, yeah, Vince, but there's nothing there. He's right. There's nothing there. Saw a video this morning where a white liberal female, young white girl in her early 20s, father is a Republican in Congress in New Mexico, and how he's just so bad. He's so misogynistic. He is so terrible. Y'all, I'm telling you, these folks are crazy. Ignorant, crazy, evil. But as far as Black History Month and what it means to me, growing up, and I I've said this on other shows. In church and in the community, when we have a Black History function, everybody talks about Martin Luther King, Marcus Garvey, and Medgar Evers, and this person, that person, and that person, Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks. And as kids, listen, we take in what we're taught. You get to be an adult, your brain grows. You have better brain power, so you research. And yeah, we have been lied to. The civil rights movement wasn't for Black folks. No, it was not. The civil rights movement hasn't made one positive step for the Black man or the Black family. Matter of fact, it's tore the Black family apart. You don't gotta believe me. Do your research. So now it hurts my heart if I see it on YouTube, if I see it on a video where they're having this Black History program in a church, and you got kids up there, Martin Luther King, he was this and he was that. That's a lie. Black history in this country are the Black men who fought in the Civil War, are those Black men who have built buildings, built roads, built companies, raised their children, loved their grandchildren, made sure their next generation was going to be better than how they left it. Not some pulpit pimp that was a womanizing whoremonger and a communist. I love listening to Chad Jackson, Vince Everett Ellison, and many more of these intelligent, smart Black men who happen to be Black conservatives. Because you know what? This is Black History Month. And we Black conservatives want the real history to be known. We want the truth to be told. But you know what? Those Black men I just mentioned and myself, we're Christian first. We're men of God first. We happen to be conservative. We're Christian. That's a gift from God. We're conservative, a choice we made to be on the right side of history. Because this pigmentation, can't do a damn thing about. We can't do nothing about this skin tone. Nothing. So it doesn't matter really. My culture is Christian culture. Black History Month means to me what both of my grandfathers and both of my grandmothers built. What my mother and what my father built. They worked their hands to the bone to keep a roof over my head, food in my mouth. My dad had a 30, 40-year pension from one of the largest gypsum companies on planet Earth, National Gypsum. My mom was a school teacher. She was a foster parent. She was a plant worker. But most of all, they were Christian. I hate the fact that they were brainwashed and their lifetime. I hate it, but it's history, and we have to learn from it. So therefore, I have to teach my kids and my grandkids the opposite of what I was taught when it comes to the civil rights movement, when it comes to most of black history. I have to teach my children different and my grandchildren different because what I was taught was mostly a lie. Mostly a lie. I really enjoyed seeing that piece from Harris Faulkner on Fox News. I really enjoyed seeing April Chapman. I enjoy listening to the great Vince Everett Ellison on a daily basis on this podcast, and the many characters who surrounds that being black conservatives. They showed a graphic where in 2016, I think it was 14% of black men that voted conservatively Republican in that 2016 race. And in 2024, it was 26%. I'll take it. Because on the next one, I want 36%. On the next one, I want 40, 50, 60, 70%. We got to get black folks off this plantation. Y'all, once that happens, I promise you, this country will be different. Hell, this world will be different. Because black folks are now, and I've heard the latest numbers, and I could be wrong. They're at 10 to 11%, when we used to be 12% of the population. Now we're 10, 11. The Hispanics has overcame us. So we have to educate our young people and get them off the Democratic plantation. I am seeing a lot of TikTok videos, which I don't do TikTok, never have and never will. But I have seen a lot of TikTok videos with young black folks really acknowledging the fact that we got to get out, that they got to get out that plantation. So if they tell their friends and they tell their friends, etc., etc., then the message get out, because they say TikTok is a good platform. And you got to excuse me, I got some business I got to take care of. So they said TikTok is a good platform to get your message out. A lot of young people watch it. I know my youngest daughter has it. Maybe all my children has it. I don't know. I don't. Never have, never will. But that's neither here nor there. So the message has to be getting out to younger black folks, because y'all, we don't need to tell our next generation the lie that we were told. We don't need to do that. Um, that's all I got. I just wanted to react to Harris Faulkner and her show today. I think it was beautiful. I think it was meaningful. It got me to thinking. That's why I'm doing the show now about Black history, coming up on it. And I did one earlier in the month. And I think it was titled Black History and What It Means to Me. So I'm going to have to title this one different, because I think she said it best. As black conservatives, how do we view black history? And as I've told you doing the show, I view it differently than I did 30 years ago. I do. So that's my message, and that might be the title of the show. As a black conservative, how do we view Black history. But listen, that's it. I got a ton of work to do, and I am going to get to it. I love you. I appreciate you. God bless you. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And remember, just support it. The number 3 podcast. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. I'll catch you next time.